Good evening and welcome to podcast 63. And my guest for tonight is Joe from the band Rain of Fire. After I've done the bands, we can talk about Rain of Fire and let you know if you haven't heard of the band, what the band's about. And feel free to ask Joe as many questions as you like. Hey, Joe, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, let me start with my segment. And my first band that I found uh, this week is Contrast. It's a crossover rock and metal band from Austria. And the first track I listened to, Lederhosen, Overkill, is a fun song. Hey DJ is a super cool song. And the track Bomba is crazy good. The song's Smash is a weird and crazy song. The band rocks, and the band can be found on Facebook Contrast, Instagram Contrast, X Contrast, and YouTube Napalm Records. And then I've got a strange German folk band called Subway to Sally. It's a German folk band from uh, Potsdam, and it's got medieval and gothic influences. And the first track I listened to, As Heilige Nacht, is epic. Was ihr wollt, is a dark metal masterpiece. The track Wijn Engel Hasen, let the metal journey begin. Kleid aus Rosen featuring Scan Mole is epic. And for me, I think the band is totally amazing. And they can be found on Instagram, Subway to Sally official, the band's website, subwaytosally.com, and YouTube, another band on Palm Records. And then I've got Soldato Mortis. It's a German medieval group. The Latin name means Dance of Death. In the first track I listened to, Was schön über alles, is a killer song. Pray to the Hunter is an inspirational song. The Elder Scroll Online is an epic song. And the track, The Dragonborn, comes from featuring Lara Loft, is from the Elder Scroll 5, Skyrim. And it's a killer song. So for those that plays games, yes, you have heard the song on Elder Scroll, and this is the band that's actually doing it. Okay, and this Amazing Maria acoustic version is a super cool song. The band is epic and it can be found on Instagram, Salto Mortis, YouTube, Napalm Records. And then I've got the Norwegian group Goth Minister. It's a gothic metal band from Oslo. The first track I listened to, Battle of the Underworlds, is a kick-ass song. I Am the Devil is a dark theatrical song. That Is Done is a crazy good song, and the track Star is a killer song. Demons take you on a goth journey. Beauty After Midnight is brilliant. The band deliver on every song. I like them, and they can be found gothminister.com on the band's website, Instagram, official Goth Minister, Facebook, official Goth Minister, X, official Goth Minister, and YouTube, AFM Records. And then a band that I've selected my album of the week from, I know it was last week's album of the week, Death Stars. It's a gothic industrial metal band from Stormstad in Sweden. The track I've listened to, Midnight Party, is epic. Everything Destroys You is crazy good. The track Metal Will Knock You Out of Your Socks, Death Dies Hard, is a kick-ass song. Blitzkrieg is super cool. The band is crazy good and the band can be found Facebook Death Stars, X DevStars, Instagram DevStars official, and the band's website devstar.net, YouTube, Nuclear Blast Records. And my next band is Ectomorph, a groove metal band from Mesokovia in Hungary. The first track I listened to, I'm Your Last Hope, played loud for the neighbors. An heart-shaped box, the Nirvana cover is brilliant. The track Reborn is a kick-ass song. Fear Me is crazy good and in your face. You Leech is a great song. The band really is amazing. They can be found on Facebook Ectomorph Official, Instagram Ectomorph Official, the band's website ectomorph.army, YouTube AFM Records. And then for some of you that followed Thunder Mother, the German band, well, sad to announce most of the girls in that band has moved on. The good news is they've moved on to a band called the Gems. It's a Swedish rock trio featuring ex-Thunder Mother members, vocalist Corina Marcini, drummer Emily Johnson, and guitarist and bassist Mona Dimona Lindgren. In the first track I listened to, Like a Phoenix is crazy good. Send Me to the Wolves is an amazing song. The track Light in the Sky is awesome. Driving in Style, the acoustic version, is awesome. The band is amazing and they can be found on Facebook. Thunder Mother Sweden, they've taken over the Thunder Mother Sweden. Instagram Gens.music, YouTube Napalm Records. And my second last band is Sasta, a doom death metal band from Kotka in Finland. And the first track I listened to, Sickness is Loud and in Your Face. Tremor is a crazy good song. The track Rift is super cool. Absence is an epic song. Siasta played loud, and they can be found on Facebook, Siasta Official, YouTube Inverse Records. And my last band I've got for tonight is Harm's Way. It's an American straight edge punk band from Chicago, Illinois. And the first track I listened to, Silent Wolf. It's loud and it's in your face. Scrambled is a killer song. Timing's Out of This World. The track Isolation is a kick-ass song. The band deliver on every song. The band can be found on Harm's X-Way on Instagram, Harm's Way on YouTube, and on Facebook also Harm's X-Way. And for me, this last band, if you are a bit squeamish, stay away from it because they are unapologetic and in your face. And some of the stuff you might not like what they say about you. So, but that's my bit for tonight. And now I'm going to talk to Joe about Rain of Fire. And my first, like I said to Joe before we got on air, of Rain of Fire was Stickman. And then I saw a video on YouTube and I said, yeah, I remember this band. Rain of Fire, it's Road of Death. Road of Madness, sorry. Road of Madness.
Road to Madness, right?
To Madness, yes. And I said to myself, I remember this band. And I've seen the video on YouTube. And yes, I'm glad they actually bring out new stuff. So, Joe, what can you tell me about your band and what have you guys been up to?
Well, we're strictly a recording project because I live in Sarasota, Florida, and the rest of the band lives in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I've known all these guys for 35, 40 years. Rob Chrisman is the guitarist. He and I played together in a band called Geneva about 30 years ago. Pete Bartolome is the drummer. He does all of the mixing and mastering of our music when we record. I've known him since we were 6 years old. We grew up in the same neighborhood. He's been my drummer for the better part of my career. I've been singing for about 40 years. And Jim Davidge is our bass player. He also does our website, and he's our tech guy. So what we're doing is it's a concept album, and we're releasing a single at a time. And I do all the video. So all of our music video is done in-house. I do all the music video. And we're putting out a song at a time. The concept is based on a soldier who was injured in the very first song, Rain of Fire.
Oh, yes.
And he's caught somewhere between madness and death, and he's experiencing past lives with each song. So we haven't disclosed how the story will end, but in the final song, we'll let everybody know what's going on, what's going to happen to him. But when the album is completed, we'll have little vignettes in between the songs that help to explain some of the storyline and connect the songs directly. But the entire song, or the entire collection of songs, is built around this concept.
Oh, fantastic. Well, what I read up on the band today a bit to refresh my memory and stuff, when I saw a part of the band is Nevada, Las Vegas.
Right.
I've wondered, what I heard about Las Vegas is once you go there, like Elvis and those guys, Frank Sinatra, or what I remembered back in the day,
right,
when you're at the end of your career, you go and play in Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
No, don't tell me this band is coming to the end. They're going to start playing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. In fact, now I think it's kind of the other way around. If you want to start your career, you can go to Las Vegas. So you either start it or you end it. And we're a bunch of old guys, but we're starting. So we've only been around for about 2 years. And we're about to release our 6th song. It's called Call of Vikings. And it's a pummeler. It's a brutal song. And I can't wait for everybody to hear it. When you hear it, you're going to pick up a battle axe and go start hacking people away. It's a hard driving, epic 7.5 minute pummeler.
Well, it sounds to me, if there's any gaming guys that's developing games and stuff like that, get into contact with Rain of Fire, because you might need that song for the game theme and use it in the game.
Absolutely, it would be a perfect song for a lot of these like Dungeons and Dragons and battle kind of games. So they would be right up their alley.
Oh yes, I can totally see that happening. And also, okay, Halloween and stuff is already gone, but maybe next year for a good Halloween movie, contact Rain of Fire as well. Right. Who knows what's coming up?
Exactly, and we'll probably have just the right song for next Halloween because we're completing this album. So that may be the last song of the album.
Oh, for sure. Gee, I like the way you're going around. You're releasing songs and stuff like that, and videos, and you put it out there for the people to comment on and like it and share it on social media.
Absolutely.
And before you put the album out, and that way, when the album comes out, people sort of know the songs already,
right?
And they know what to expect. So if they like the songs already, and bookmark the songs like I do on like YouTube and other video platforms, Daily Emotion, stuff like that, I actually play it on YouTube, X, and the other social media sites I'm on. So I hope the people, your fans, are doing exactly the same and sharing the music.
Absolutely, and we strongly encourage that. Anybody who wants to share our music, share our videos, by all means, I hope they do. And we try to push it, promote it as much as we can through Facebook, through X, through Reverb Nation. So we've made sure we're on most platforms. We're not on Instagram. I think we need to be. So that's probably going to be a next step. But we really encourage anybody who is willing to share our music, to get it out as much as they can. We've been in contact with a lot of internet radio. So we've been talking to a lot of radio guys and getting them to play our stuff too. So I'm really excited about where this whole thing's going.
Well, a good friend of mine, the Ink Master, I've seen you've been on Static X and on there as well.
Right. Yeah. We just got
And
it this past week.
yes, because the other friend of both me and Ell Young Project Metal, Zorn on Star Radio, he's also friends with me, and I've seen him also talking about the band and stuff like that. So the people in the music that's sort of writing about the music and involved in the indie music scene, they actually talk to each other, and I'm glad the band's name Rain of Fire get mentioned a lot and get
Awesome.
shared because
Awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. DJ Zorn and Ell were the first two guys really that
mm, mm,
push it forward. And so those guys,
yes.
they're awesome, man. Those guys are just the best. And so they've been really instrumental in helping us get our name up.
Oh yes, Al, me and Eve have been doing this podcast now for I think it's over a year. We've actually been doing the podcast on Monday nights on YouTube and focusing on indie bands.
That's
And the
awesome.
reason why I like indie bands is they're more approachable and they don't get owned by the record labels. So they write the stuff they want. And I'm
Absolutely.
sure it's the same with you guys. You go and, between everybody in the band, you go and write the stuff, and then you decide what's going to be on and how's it going to be changed. There's
Right.
no like a record company tell you, no, we don't like this song. Can you be
Exactly.
more like this? Or
We get to avoid the formula. You know, that too many of these labels want a formulaic approach to how the music is going to be written, recorded, and released. We don't want to do that.
yes,
Artists, we want to do our own thing.
and that's the big advantage of doing indie
Yep.
or unsigned bands because the musicians decide how their music is going to sound and they've got a final say on their
Right.
music.
Yep, exactly. You know, there's a huge, huge indie community, and I love it. We're connected to an awful lot of bands through Facebook, and
Mm-hmm.
and I've always said this: the greatest musicians that I've ever heard are unknown. They're indies, and it's always the guys
Yes.
who haven't been discovered yet. They're the best guitarists, drummers, singers, bass players, keyboardists, you name it. The best writers. All the most
Mm-hmm.
creative stuff is coming out of indie music. So I'm glad to be a part of it, and I don't think we'd ever be willing to sign over to a label control of our art. We want to do it our way.
I'm so glad to hear that because I hate to see a good indie band signed away. How can you put it? I wouldn't say sign away the soul, but
Yeah,
they sign away the control basically.
absolutely. Yeah, you're sacrificing all of your creativity to somebody else. Then you just become an instrument of what they think you should be doing. And that's a shame. That's not what music is about. It's about an expression of your soul. You got to be yourself.
Exactly. And also, what I found is I've watched a lot of the music venues and stuff, gigs where the bands are playing. And what I've heard back from the bands is some record companies control where you can play, with who you can play at gigs, stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
It's it's out of your control. They can tell
Yeah.
you, listen, get your stuff together. Next week you're flying off. You're going to be touring year and year and year, and there's nothing you
Right.
can do. You sign a contract.
Yeah. You're stuck. You're stuck. You're pretty much a music slave.
Exactly. And also with your merch, you can decide what your merch and stuff looks like that you
Right.
sell. How many songs on your record or indie
Yep.
EP that you're bringing out?
Right. Right. You know, I hate every time I've heard about, some band that signed with a label and then they end up getting
Mm,
their entire album shelved because it happens to clash with another band that they want to push. So the label wants to push somebody and the other band gets put on the shelf. So you pour all your heart and soul into this piece of art just to have the label say, no, you know what? We're not going to let you put it out.
yep. That has happened to so many bands and stuff. And the thing that I've noticed, a lot of these guys that's made it in the uh, with the record labels, as soon as their contract's up, they go indie. They release the stuff themselves, like
Sure.
Ronnie Romero and uh, uh, Scott Sapp, and these guys. They're all releasing their stuff on indie, and a lot of these guys say now we're doing it for the fans.
Right.
We're not
Right.
we're not bothered. We'll be playing where we want to play. We're writing music for the fans. We're
Exactly.
not bound by any record company. So if guys that's made it big decided no, we want to get out of it, it tells you how toxic
Absolutely.
the environment is in the
It really
moment.
does. It tells you everything. It tells you that you don't want to be in there.
Exactly, exactly. Because you think you get this amount of money, but at the end of the day, when you want to go, they say, listen, you signed a contract, 7 albums and so many EPs of so many. We want that finished before you can do anything.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. I can recall that even some of these big guys that when they wanted to do their own thing, like the Seventh Star album by Tony Iommi, the label forced
Yes.
him to do it as a Black Sabbath album. He wanted to do it as
Mm.
his own solo thing, and they're like, "Look, no, you're under contract. You have to release it as a Black Sabbath product." I mean, that's ridiculous.
It is. And that's the whole thing. For
Yeah.
bands that's listening now, or bands that's thinking of going uh, to record labels, yeah, you've heard it. Why you shouldn't
Yeah.
go that route? Because the one thing you must remember, who's getting you where you are at the moment? It's your fans. Do
Yeah.
you really want
Absolutely.
to sign them away because the record companies can make you sound like somebody else or somebody that's similar, that's
Right.
out there, and not you, the
Yep.
band.
Exactly. It reminds me of an old episode of the Brady Bunch where
Oh,
the
yes.
oldest son Greg had to wear the Johnny Bravo suit. Didn't even sound like himself. They just wanted to sell an image, not him. I think
Oh,
every label does
yes.
the same thing. They want to make you Johnny Bravo.
And, oh, yes. That's for sure. And uh, that's definitely. And if you have to give advice to somebody that's just starting off in the music business, playing gigs and stuff like that, and thinking of writing stuff, what would your advice be to the guys?
I can remember early on not being
Mm,
very good. And, when you're a young musician, when you're first starting out,
mm,
you're probably not
mm,
going to be very good, but don't let that get to you. I remember hearing an interview once with David Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and he said,
mm,
the best part about being in a band is, you're going to you got nowhere to go but up. You're going to suck in the beginning, but suck. Get in a garage,
mm,
jam with your buddies, play some shows, get some fans, and each week, each month, each year, you're going to get better. Each show, you're going to get better. Your
mm,
writing improves. So, I mean, keep plugging away. Don't ever give up, because it's an art form, so it's an expression of your soul. And yeah,
mm,
maybe you'll suck in the beginning, but no matter what, you're going to keep getting better. You're going to learn from your mistakes, and you're going to learn your craft, and that's how you become an awesome musician. Nobody just wakes up an awesome musician. So keep plugging.
mm. And tell me, uh, in the band, do you do your own mixing and recording your own stuff, or you've got uh, a studio where you recorded somebody outside the band that's doing it for you?
We do it all in house. All of us have been doing this for a long time, so we all now use the
Oh,
same.
yes.
We all use Cakewalk's sonar. It got picked up
Yes.
by, and you can get it for free. So we've all been using sonar for the last several years. Um,
Mhm,
I do my vocals. I do all the background vocals. So I'll send Pete a whole suite of vocals, lead
mhm,
and background
mhm,
vocals, and then Pete Bartolome, the drummer in the band, he does all the mixing and mastering, and he'll
mhm,
spend an awful lot of time on it. He's exceptional. He's got a great ear. Everybody in the band does. So as he does
mhm,
aggressive mixes, our
mhm,
whole process is a little different than everybody else's. Most people write songs, they perform them, they refine them over the course of months and years. by
Mhm.
performing. We don't. It starts out with Rob will write a guitar piece. He sends it to me and the rest of the guys. And because we're all distant from one another, we write our own individual parts. So the drummer writes his parts, the bass player writes his parts. I write the lyrics and melodies and vocals. And then I'll send Pete my vocals as a draft. He'll have his drum draft. The bass player sends him the bass draft. So we'll go kind of like writing a book. We'll go through probably 10, 15 drafts of the song. And if we hear something we don't like, we're all pretty vocal about it, and everybody's thick-skinned. We don't take anything to heart. So if somebody says, I don't know if I like your vocal melody here, can you maybe try something else? I'll usually have 20 different ideas on a song. And the same with the rest of these things. So we go through a refinement process, but Pete does all the mixing and mastering, and he does a hell of a job. So everything is done in-house.
Mhm. And just for interest sake, do you guys decide beforehand? Listen, okay, we've recorded everything. How many, say for instance, CDs you're going to release of this album beforehand, or uh, how does it work? Depends on the money you get in, or how do you decide?
Yeah, we haven't really put thought into it because the album isn't finished. We probably won't have it done until maybe the end of the summer next year or the fall next year.
Mm-hmm.
And to be
Okay.
honest, we just started promoting our music a couple months ago. We had a
Nice.
presence on Facebook, and I hadn't done any promotion until we released the song Desert Caravan. So that song came out 3 months ago. So that's when I started outreach to other bands on Facebook, really kind of pushed us with getting subscribers to YouTube, people to follow us on Spotify, people to follow us on Facebook, contacting record labels or contacting radio stations, contacting people in other forms of media like magazine and podcasters. And so all of this has really kind of just recently started to grow, which we're really excited with the rapid acceptance of our music. I mean, so many people are now kind of, helping us to promote our stuff. We get a lot of support through the indie community. So we'll see where we're at next summer and in terms of how many CDs we want to print. We'll probably
Mm-hmm.
go Bandcamp route. We'll do CDs. But because we're in different places, I'm in Sarasota, Florida, and they're in Vegas, we really don't hit the road and promote yet. So we'll see what kind of buzz we have, how much interest there is. And, the beauty of today's distribution of CDs, you can do 1,000 run and then do another 1,000 next month, do another 1,000 because they'll have your artwork. So we'll probably do it as we go. And that's what we've
Mm-hmm.
asked, like Pete and I, when we were in a band called Strychnine in Chicago, that's how we did it. We do a run of CDs. Once we started to exhaust those CDs, we do another run. And I did the same thing with a band in California called 7 Months. 7 Months we did really well in Europe 20 years ago. We had music and movies. So it was kind of the same thing. We would produce, it was all self-produced. We recorded on our own and then manufactured CDs on our own. We didn't get record labels until we just had distribution deals. And so we avoided the whole label thing. Really, all we had was just
Mm-hmm.
distribution. So we'll probably do the same thing with this.
Oh, awesome. And that's a very interesting way of actually doing stuff. And yes, it shows you if you got control over everything, you can do basically what you want to do in any
Right.
way you want to.
That's one of the things I love about being an indie artist. It at any step along the journey, you make the decisions that are most beneficial for the band. And honestly, we're not in this for money. We never were. And I think anybody who goes into a rock band thinking they're going to become rich is
Mm,
crazy. It's like being struck by lightning 10 times. You got to be the rarest of rare to make a living at this kind of stuff. We do it because we really just love making music. We all have full-time jobs. So for us,
mm.
this is the labor of love. This is a huge hobby. And, so we're doing it kind of with the ways that make the most sense for us. That's why we really like being indie.
Definitely. I think if you're not in it for the love of the music, you're in it for the wrong reason and you can
You're
be
absolutely,
unhappy.
absolutely right, Dan. In all honesty, if I look back on how much I've made throughout 40 years of making music and how much I've spent, I probably spent more than I made. It's kind of like the Blues Brothers when they finish at that bar and they say, "You boys drank an awful lot of beer," and they got a big bill. They have to pay more than they got paid to do the show. That's kind of how my music career has been.
Oh, yes. Great movie. That's actually fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but that's true. You're in it for the love. And
yeah,
uh, I know bands that's doing gigs and stuff like that. It's they have to pay for the petrol and fuel going around
Right, right,
and traveling from venue to venue and stuff like that, getting sleeping arrangements if they uh, not out of town and stuff like that. So
right.
yes,
Yeah, you're either sleeping on somebody's couch, or you all have to sleep in the same hotel room, or you're sleeping in the same band van. You know, you're roughing it,
yes,
definitely roughing it, but you do it because you love it.
oh yes, for the love of music.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
see. Tony has come in chat and he said, "Hi guys, Rain of Fire is awesome. Very interesting chat." So Tony is enjoying the chat. Hi Tony,
Oh, thanks, Tony.
welcome for.
Welcome to it, buddy.
Tony is one of our regular guys that's listening in, and he
Very
also
cool.
loves indie music. So
Very cool. Tony, I hope you'll check our stuff out, man.
I'm sure he will because all of the stuff is in the chat. All your links and everything is in there, so people can just follow you and check out the band.
Excellent.
And for those people that's wondering, uh, they want to listen to Rain of Fire, go to the YouTube channel, check out the videos there, and on Digital Revolution Radio, Ell and Zorn will play it there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, oh, there's Alice put it up again. So yes, and tell me, how does work uh, your full-time job feature in with your like writing music and stuff like that? A lot of late nights and writing music and doing stuff like that, or
Actually, I kind of have an advantage over the other guys. The other guys have to they have to dedicate their free time at home to working on music a
uh,
lot. I'm a fireman, and so I get to spend time in between calls. If I'm not running emergency calls, when I'm at a fire
mhm,
station, I'm there for 24 hours. So I work on music a lot when I'm at the fire station, and then I'll work on some at home when I'm at home. Like I got
mhm,
the computer set up, was working on some of the new song that we're working on, Call of Vikings, just a little while ago before we started the podcast. So I
mhm.
get to work on music at a fire station in between calls. So it gets interrupted sometimes, but I'm able to get a decent amount of music work done. And for all of us, inspiration hits when it hits. I could be driving down the road and I may be listening to a new song that we're working on, and I got to pull over on the side of the road and start writing. And so I'm lucky. I get to work on a lot of this stuff when I'm at work. So I'm a fireman. I also have a personal training business. Rob, the guitarist, is a teacher, and he's also a coach for sports. He's has coached powerlifting and football. Pete is he's a supervisor for a car dealership's repair service station, and then Jim works in IT. So for each of them, it's they're working on it when they get the chance at home, and hopefully they don't do so much of it that the wife gets mad at them. But that's why I do mine as much as I can at the fire station. So my significant other, so she doesn't get mad at me.
That's what I want to ask my next question, because a lot of these guys, once you get married, it's not just you, it's the wife that's also involved
Sure,
because
sure,
uh, you're spending time with your wife and also doing music, but you have to balance it because she might get upset and say, "Listen, spending too much time on the band or the music,
exactly,
going away or doing that.
right,
What about me?"
right, exactly. And if you push it too far, it's either me or the band. So you don't want that.
But just for interest sake, is your wife also interested in metal and rock music, or has she got another taste of music, or not at all interested in music?
She's got a little bit different taste in music. She's not as much a fan of what we do. She likes what we're doing, but if it weren't
Hmm?
for me doing it, I don't know if she'd listen to it. She listens to like Christian rock. She listens to pop. So she likes stuff that's a
Oh,
little softer. But I've been fortunate. She embraces what we're doing. She liked the music that I
mhm.
did with the band out in California. She likes what we're doing with Rain of Fire. So so that helps. And I know the other guys in the band, their wives really like what we're doing too.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you go later on after the CD is released, you decide to go and tour, do gigs, the the wives would be supporting and going along and supporting the band everywhere.
Absolutely. At least that's our hope.
Well, that will be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
No,
Hopefully that's what happens.
because the worst thing that can happen is if you're married and you're into rock and metal music and the wife is not into music at all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a tough sell.
That is, that is, no, definitely. But tell me, you say sometimes at the fire station you 24 hours on shifts. That must be really long to be on duty at a fire station for that long period, especially if not much is happening.
Right, right. Well, you sleep at the station, so but the
Mm,
calls come in anytime.
mhm,
So, and for the better part of my career, I worked at busy fire stations, so I'd be up for
mhm,
3, 4, 5 calls through the night. So
mhm.
you're on for 24 hours straight, but then you're off for 48 hours straight. The nice thing
Ah,
is that if you're not running calls, your time is kind of your own. You can't leave the station, but you can do things that are, fall within kind of normal behavior. You can't. I couldn't have a band practice at the station, but I could at least, throw the headphones on. I can do stuff on the computer. I can do some editing. Um, if the station I'm at is relatively quiet, so I have my own separate bunk room, so I can actually even do some recording there. So I get to work on music a little differently than most people can, and I can work on it at a fire station a little differently than most firefighters would be able to.
oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Interesting looking at the life of a fire person as a firefighter because we've all watched Chicago Fire and all of these fire series and stuff. I'm just wondering if it's true what they say. Do you also get food, or you have to bring your own food there?
we bring our own food in. We make our own food. Yeah, no fire stations have dogs. Everybody thinks, oh, you have a dog at the fire station. We can't.
Mhm.
But yeah, we go and buy our own food. We prepare our own food through the day. And every shift, they go through the same processes. We check out all of our equipment and vehicles in the morning. We clean the stations. We keep the stations clean just the same as we would our own houses. So you have to treat the place like, like it's your own, because in some ways it is. You have to treat it like home.
Yes, definitely. Uh, just interesting to know, and I'm glad you're actually a firefighter because uh, that's a question, a personal question for me to you on something not related to music as such, but since you're on here and you are a firefighter, just thought I'll ask you.
Say again now?
I say that was just a personal question for me to you. Since you're on here and you are a firefighter, I
Right.
just thought I'll ask you that question. Uh, Tell me, for the band and stuff, what guitars are they using? What mics are you using? If you own got a specific uh, mic that you like, or uh, are you brand conscious, or just if,
I have a pretty simple setup myself. I use
mm,
Studio Pro microphones. I use C1s, which are really nice, inexpensive mics.
mm,
I got them about 20
mm,
years ago. They're very similar to like a Neumann 87. Very
mm,
even sound. I really like them a lot. I use a Focusrite Scarlett, just a 2 in, 2 out, into my
mm,
laptop where I'm using Cakewalk. I also use a TC Helicon Voice Live as a better preamp. I like the preamp on it, and I've had it for a long time, but it's a nice, clean sounding preamp. Rob uses everything and anything. He's got a pretty sizable guitar collection, so he
mm,
uses PRS, Jackson, Gibson, you name it. And Pete has Premier drums, but he's also using electronic drums. So each guy, they've got their own specialities, certain things,
mm,
types of equipment that they like. Um,
mm,
but we're all using Sonar Cakewalk, Cakewalk's Sonar. So that's an easy
mm,
platform for us all to use, because when I send my vocal wave
mm,
files, we're doing this remotely, so I'll just
mm,
send them a wave file, or a collection of wave files to be added into the primary mix, the master mix that Pete works on, and everybody does the same thing. So we have, until recently, we've been using Dropbox, and then our bass player just created. He's got his own server, so he created our own version of file sharing, kind of like Dropbox. So, but we do an awful lot of file sharing because we'll go through multiple generations of the songs. So I'll send Pete vocals probably 20 times over the course of the song being refined. And like I said, most other bands practice their stuff. We as a band have never even been in the same room at once as a band. We all know each other personally. We've all met, and played together. But as Rain of Fire, we haven't even ever once been in the same room together. Because even though those guys all live in Vegas, they live, half an hour away from each other. Now, Pete and Jim have played in a couple bands together, so they get together and work on the rhythm section sometimes. But with Rob being a teacher and a coach, he doesn't have as much free time, so he hasn't had a chance to get together with them, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. All of these songs have been written by each individual, their own individual part, and none of us have been in the same room to jam the stuff out. So it's kind of crazy.
It is, and it's actually unique, and that's just amazing to hear. That's the way you guys are actually doing this stuff, and good luck. You actually did quite well. If you listen to the videos and stuff that's out there, you would never say it, but it's amazing. And
well, thank you.
I really liked what you guys put together. So yes,
thank you. It's been out of necessity. Pete and I were working on. We had a band in Chicago called Strychnine, and we were working on some of our old material about 5 years ago. And the keyboardist from Strychnine unfortunately passed away from cancer, and the guitarist he's a Greek national, so he moved back to Greece and left the band. He was having difficulty with his fingers and thumbs because of arthritis, so he was having a hard time playing. So I'd reached out to Rob to see if he'd be interested in working on something, and that's really how the whole band came together. So we knew, look, this is probably we're not really gonna easily get together because I live in Florida and they live out there. But we figured, well, this could at least be a cool recording project, and it's grown into something that really has a life of its own now. So we're really excited about where it could go, and there's always that opportunity that we'll get together and perform and tour. But for right now, the primary focus is just on finishing this album. But it's just crazy when you think about the fact that we've never been in the same room, never jammed together in the same room ever.
That is totally amazing. But see, I also seen a lot of these guys during the COVID lockdown. A lot of these bands, musicians all over the world, and actually come together and put music and stuff together and recorded it that way. And some of the stuff that was released on YouTube was actually done through basically internet and video call conferencing and all kinds of stuff. So, and I think that's possibly the way to do it. You don't have to be in the same city no longer as to be a band. Like you guys are doing it.
Yeah. And it's funny, we were doing it before COVID. So when COVID hit, as people said, were you guys affected by COVID? I'm like, no, we were doing this already before COVID. We were already doing the file sharing thing and writing remotely anyway. So it's a cool process. You missed the energy of jamming and collaborating in the same room. You missed, being able to refine a song on stage for an audience. And, you get feedback from an audience, what they like, what they don't like in the song. So then you can really kind of embellish on that, elaborate on it, improve upon it in the studio. So we're really winging it with this, but we feel really good about how it's all been turning out. We think the songs are really top quality. Thank God we've all been playing for decades. We're all old dudes, but it's working.
Oh yes, for sure. Well, you've got the experience and everything, so experience do count, and you've been there. You've done most of the stuff, so it's nothing new to you guys, and you know where to have patience and just to hang in there and continue.
Right. Yeah, all of us have had our time with touring and living on the road and doing all the crazy stuff associated with that, and it's you can glamorize it, but it's not all that glamorous.
No, it's not.
This is a whole lot. from the, you know, the comfort of your own home. It's kind of like watching football at home instead of going to the stadium in the freezing cold.
That's true. I've got a question here from Ell. He said, Joe, do you have any plans for doing some solo music?
You know, I've got a band that I work with down in Key West. It's called Joe Booe and the Dog. We put an album out about 1.5 years ago, and we're just completing another album, another 12-song album. I got a buddy in Chicago that he and I have worked on 3 or 4 songs that we'll probably be releasing at some point in the future. And he was also the guitarist in a band called Monkey Fist. The one of the primary musicians in Joe Booe and the Dog. In fact, he's the dog. Tim Curtis. His nickname is Sea Dog. He was the bass player in a band called Monkey Fist, and Randy Nitch was the guitarist, and a good friend of mine, Chris DeWitt, was the drummer. So we've got a bunch of songs that we'll probably be working on in the future too. So I've got a few other projects in the works, but Rain of Fire is that's the big one. That's the big deal to me. So we'll continue with that. I'm hoping for the rest of our lives. I hope Rain of Fire will always exist, and I hope we'll be having this conversation on album 5 in 5 or 6 years.
One thing I have noticed, except from YouTube, a lot of bands and stuff have done stuff on Twitch, which is the other platform.
Right.
And a lot of bands are doing stuff, not necessarily music, but interacting with their fans and stuff like that, and have a evening where somebody from the band is on, and the fans can actually ask questions.
Sure.
To the whoever's on from the band, and ask away and get to know the band.
Right. That's, like I said, we just started to promote our stuff within the last couple months. So we're open to every avenue. So, some of these things we aren't entirely familiar with yet, but we're working to that end. As a matter of fact, Rob and I just had a conversation a couple days ago about reaching out a little bit more through YouTube and possibly through Twitch and Rumble, and doing either podcast format, or Rob he's pretty fluent in most instruments. So he kind of like to do some instructional stuff, do some question and answer. And Pete would probably want to do the same thing in terms of recording, mixing, and mastering. So yeah, that's on our radar, and that's definitely something we'll consider. I think for most of us, the biggest constraint is time. Since we have full-time jobs, it's kind of hard to add those types of things into the mix and continue writing and recording and finishing an album. But we're definitely entertaining those ideas.
Definitely, and I, if you've got a full-time job, time is, like you said, it's the biggest constraint and stuff like that, because if you're a full-time musician, or you're lucky enough to have some money put away, and you can actually focus on your music at this stage,
Right.
You can do Twitch and stuff like that. But an advantage of Twitch for especially band members and artists and stuff like that, you can actually use it, work on it and build it up to generate income for you. And now, especially if you're indie, sometimes you need to spend money on marketing the stuff, or doing certain cover designs and stuff like that for the album. It costs money, and through avenues like that, you can actually generate a few funds and stuff like that to actually help the band in the artist.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know how it is for indie artists. I mean, you've got to find whatever revenue stream you can generate, because the stuff is coming out of pocket. Everything's paid for out of pocket.
Because I've seen some bands and stuff like that, where somebody in the band is sort of talented as an artist or a painter or whatever, and they sell their artwork on the band's website, and they show how to do it on Twitch and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's a way to generate income for the band, or show the new designs of T-shirts and stuff like that they're selling.
Right. It's amazing. If you're an indie artist, you really have to be a comprehensive artist. You can't just be a musician. You've got to be
Yes.
an art, like a painter or a graphic artist. You've got to know how to build websites. You've got to understand all the promotional avenues through social media. So you really have to wear a lot of hats. You got to be a jack of all trades.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely.
But it's fun that
El,
I like it. I think it's a lot of fun being able to do, like, I do all of our music videos. I have a blast doing our music videos. It's time consuming. It takes a lot of work, but at the end, I see a finished product and have people say to me, "Hey man, who did your video?" I say, "I did." And, wow, man, it looks like, you had to hire a film crew to go out and do this stuff.
That's what I actually thought when I was watching your YouTube videos. I thought, wow, these guys got some professional guys in there to do the videos. It's actually quite nice videos, and you didn't. So,
Thank you.
well done, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's another labor of love. I really like doing it. The next one we've got coming out, Call of Vikings. The video is sick. It's off the wall. It's really good. And the song is crazy. I'm really excited about this one. Really excited about this one.
Oh, that's amazing. Alice got another question for you.
Okay.
Joe, what is your favorite type of microphone to use while recording?
I use that Studio Project C1. They also have a tube version of it, but the C1 is just your typical, condenser recording mic, and it's really clean, man. I mean, it's a really good, clean, flat mic. There's no bumps in it anywhere. It's good and flat, lows through the highs, and it's got really broad frequency capabilities. I like the microphone a lot, and I just end up using that with my TC Helicon Voice Live preamp and Focusrite Scarlett. So it's a pretty simple setup, but I really like the quality of the vocal recordings I get from it.
Oh, that's awesome. Tell me, Joe, what kind of computer setup have you got for your music? What's your processor and stuff that you actually use?
I just use I have an HP i5 laptop. It's an older laptop because, again, for me, I'm using a handful. I might use up to about 20, 25 tracks. Now, Pete has got a pretty high-powered multi-engine desktop that he's using. All the guys they all use HP X series or XP series. So they're using some pretty heavy-duty computer systems. And Jim is an IT guy, so he's got a really powerful system too. And those guys share, through Dropbox and through their computers, they share all of the same files on the mix and master, so that nothing's lost. There's no chance of a crash and we lose everything. Jim's got a backup of everything that Pete's working on. And but for Rob and I, we both don't need nearly as many tracks as Pete does, and Jim helps Pete an awful lot with the mixing and mastering. And obviously we all have an awful lot of input in the process. So as Pete works on it, he'll put out the latest iteration of it. We'll have notes. We'll share notes, tell him what we think needs to be adjusted. So it's really a collaborative effort. It's a group effort. But Pete does an awful lot of the legwork. He does all that mixing and mastering on his own. So he's got quite an ear. And fortunately, everybody in the band does. We all have good ears.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I know if you're mixing and matching the stuff, you'll need quite a powerful computer, because the software you need to run and the amount of RAM you actually need to actually run that type of software and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's actually quite a bit that
it's
you
daunting.
need. So
yeah, it's pretty
daunting. Yeah,
you got to have a monster computer, and fortunately, just about everybody in the band except me has one. In fact, we were talking about it yesterday. It's time for me to probably move up from the one I'm using now. I've got a decent desktop at the fire station that I use, that I dedicated solely for recording at the fire station, and then the laptop, because mobile, is what I carry with me when I come home if I'm going to work on any editing. If I get the opportunity to do some more recording while I'm at home.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear that, because me and Alice actually be talking. We also need to do our podcasts and stuff. Need to upgrade our computer stuff, and we've been looking at prices and stuff. And you say, yeah,
You
It's
hate
not going
spending.
to be cheap.
It's going to cost a lot of money for you to get what you need. Yeah.
It is. It is. And especially if, like, I'm also into doing a bit of gaming and doing a podcast on feedback on gaming and stuff like that. So I see the games that's out, the latest games, computer and video games that's out, and I've been thinking when I'm gonna hit the lotto because I'm gonna need it pretty soon.
You can buy the computer you need.
Oh yes, but yeah, it's quite interesting to know what you guys are using because uh, it's every band has got a different setup. They use different computers or games and stuff that they
Right.
play or do. So for me, it was I actually enjoyed getting to know Rain of Fire since I enjoy the band a bit closer and get more info out of the band and stuff like that, and how you actually go about doing the music bits and doing the recording bits. That for me, that was totally amazing.
This has been awesome. I've really been great talking to you. Uh, from our perspective, we're not doing anything any differently than any other band. I guess some of the stuff is a little different, the whole file sharing process and recording process, but we're doing what everybody else is doing. We love what we're doing. We love writing, we love recording,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a blast doing it. So we're excited that people enjoy what we're doing too. Nobody, even if we didn't get a single fan listening to Rain of Fire music, we'd still do it because we listen to it.
That's true. That's true. For sure, because you're into it for the love of music, and
Got it.
like I'm into it for the love of music, and like I told Al many times every week, for me, uh, my sort of joy comes when I finish doing my daily stuff, and I go and look for bands, new bands that I haven't heard of, uh, indie bands and stuff like that. I can't remember the last time I've actually listened to commercial radio. I,
Right.
I just don't, I've got no interest in it because uh, there's so many indie bands
There's so
out there
much.
that's,
There's so
and
much out there, and there's so much incredible talent. So many of the bands that we connected with just in the last couple of months, I'm listening. That's all I'm listening. I'm listening to these new bands that I had no idea existed out there, and I love the stuff that they're making. I love the music they're making. I mean, some great stuff.
and I've said it many times when I'm featuring bands. I've said it here. Some of these bands are better than uh, the mainstream artists that's been recording.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So
I couldn't agree more because
and
it's more creative. It's different. If you want to hear the same regurgitated formulaic stuff, then you listen to, what mainstream is putting out. But if you really want to hear something unique and different and artistic, then you got to listen to indie music.
for me, when I was in my 20s, uh, in the uh, in the 80s, close to late 20s, these artists, Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan, were produced by Stock Aitken and Waterman, and all the artists that these guys produced sounded exactly the same.
Right. Yeah, it's all formulaic. They stamp out exactly how they want everybody to sound. And the only thing that might be different is somebody's timbre, somebody's tone, if they're baritone, if they're, a soprano, if female or male voice. But otherwise, it's all the same.
It's exactly the same. And
Yeah.
with these artists, I'm finding now uh, all different types of metal music, rock music, uh, uh, goth, symphonic, even metalcore, all kinds of stuff. And I'm actually enjoying it and I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
And the best gigs to go to are the ones at your local venues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because these guys put their heart and soul in it. And
You
that's
know
the
it.
thing.
They do. They pour everything into a show.
And it's just the same with the videos and stuff. that I've seen from you guys, Rain of Fire, you can hear it in the song. It's fantastic, and the guys have put their heart and soul and everything in the song.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I mean, we love doing this. We talk to each other all the time, even though we're, in different places. We talk to each other all the time about what we're working on currently and about what we're going to be working on up and coming. We get really excited every time we, start coming to the completion of a song. We'll be on the phone with each other. We'll be texting back and forth. This is kick ass, man. This is such a badass. This thing is such a badass. It's a monster. It's a beast, so we get really excited before it comes out. And once it's out, we can't stop talking about it.
Oh, fantastic. Alice got another question. He says, Joe, if you get the opportunity, would you allow your music to be on a video game, movie, TV soundtrack?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's actually something we'd like to see happen. Because for us, when you're an indie artist, you're not reaching the masses. If you want to reach the masses, just about the only way you can is either soundtrack music or video game. Because we don't want to sign a label. We don't want to be with a label, so we don't want to take that route to try and get onto mainstream radio. We're not going to get to mainstream radio. The only thing that we could potentially get is maybe soundtrack music or music in video gaming.
Oh, yes. Well, getting on to that, I know since you guys are based in the United States, what I've seen from the States and stuff like that, Alice asked the question, but I'm going to go one step further. Would you allow your music to be used in a presidential election?
Depends on the candidate. Yeah, it would definitely depend on the candidate.
Good, honest answer. Because I had to laugh because I'm not going to mention the candidate, but some from the John Lennon and the Beatles music was used, and Yoko Ono said, "No, you can't use these songs, but you can use the one like the devil or something like that." The candidate, but yeah. I just thought, look, since Alice asked it, let me go one step further and see how you feel about it.
You're right. Like I said, we'd be willing as long as it's a candidate we like.
Well, talking about movies and stuff like that, I know in this was the 80s, yeah, it was the 80s, talking about 40 years ago. A lot of these sort of B movies, so-called B movies, the soundtracks of some of these movies become cult classics because a lot of people were tired of the mainstream movies and stuff, so they went to see the B movies, and the soundtracks and songs that were used on that, people know that more than the mainstream music. So I'm sure you wouldn't mind if one of these beast beat movie category use your music, or one of the Japanese horror use your music.
It's funny you say that, because when I was with a band called 7 Months in California, we had a song in the worst horror movie. It was Witch House 2. So I couldn't, because the movie was so bad, I couldn't believe they actually made a 2. But we had a song in Witch House 2, and that's kind of been one of our claims to fame. We were putting music in some of these B movies. What's funny about it too is my current guitarist Rob, who's with Rain of Fire, Rob Chrisman, and I played in a band years and years ago, and we hadn't spoken to each other in about 10 years. And I moved out to California. I was playing with 7 Months, and back then, a lot of these B movies, they went right to like VHS and DVD rentals.
Yes.
So when Blockbuster was still around. So Rob went and he rented Witch House 2 the day it came out, right? So he's at home, he's watching Witch House 2, and it was so bad, he fell asleep on the couch. That's how bad this thing was. But then he hears the song, here's the soundtrack, and he was like, that sounds like Joe Booe, man. He wakes up, he's like, so he checks it and he watches at the end of it, because they played the song again in the credits, and he sees the credits and he sees 7 Months, and he sees who 7 Months was. So he looks us up and he sees that I'm the singer for 7 Months. So he sends me an email. Says, dude, I just watched this shitty movie, Witch House 2, and I saw that your song is in it. So that's how he and I reconnected.
Wow.
So from then on, we continued to talk, and we were like, yeah, we got to get back together. We got to work on music again. So it really kind of led to Rain of Fire.
Wow, amazing. That's amazing, and just shows you. Well, I'm at this point where I don't watch TV at all.
Yeah,
The stuff I've found is I go and see what the old movies sort of I haven't watched yet,
right.
and go and watch. I've watched movies from 1910. I've gone through movies, 60s, 50s, 40s, all
That's all.
through,
I mean, see all the classics.
all the classics, and then I'm watching B movies. That's the other thing I'm watching now is some of these B movies. And somebody told me, listen, go and watch the Trauma movies. And I said, okay, Trauma, what's that? He said, go and Google it and find it. And I said, okay, watch these terrible horror movies. That's also got a cult following. And I just laughed, but some of the music is crazy good. Unfortunately, the owner or president of Trauma has died, so I don't know if any more is coming out, but they were actually like also classics.
Come on, buddy. You gotta love cult following. Cult
Oh
following,
yes,
cult following in movies, because so much of that stuff, when you finally get a chance to tap into it, you realize why it became a cult thing, why it was a cult movie or a cult song or a cult band,
mm,
because they had something that nobody else had. It's just they never made it mainstream, you know.
oh definitely. I see somebody. Lisa has joined. Hello, Lisa.
How you doing,
Lisa
Lisa?
Boo.
Oh, Lisa Boo, awesome.
So yes, welcome, Lisa. Yes, those cult movies, because I remember the first movie that's actually done as by a band as a movie. They used the music. Is Pink Floyd The Wall. I saw The Wall over here, and I enjoyed it. And
Yeah,
I've watched Tommy from the Who, where
yeah,
Elton John, Tina Turner, and all of those guys
right.
are in an amazing movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That
so
was that was part of the inspiration for us to want to work on a concept album. You know, the Who's,
mhm,
the Who's Tommy, Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime,
mm,
and the Wall by the Who or by Pink Floyd. Those that idea of working on an entire concept for an album to us was really appealing. And Rob and I talked about it when we first wrote Rain of Fire, and he said, "I'd really
mhm.
like to work on a concept album. Do you have any ideas?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I've got an idea that's kind of been evolving from this project." So that's where the whole concept for this album about a soldier who gets wounded and he's experiencing past lives with each song really kind of came from.
Oh,
But
amazing.
thanks to bands like the Who with Tommy and Operation Mindcrime from Queensryche and The Wall by Pink
Oh,
Floyd.
yes.
That really was kind of the inspiration for us.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I enjoyed it. I've seen Tommy now so many times. And for me, that's the thing about these movies. You watch it, can watch it again, and it's still amazing.
Yeah, you find that you missed things the first time or the second time through.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. And that's the amazing part. Like I told uh, uh, Ell and stuff like that, I'm a sucker for musical documentaries and stuff like that. I've got the original Woodstock footage,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh,
the whole DVD things. I've got it, and I see somebody's got some extra footage of that, so I want to get it when it's released as well.
Cool.
just go through it because it's part of history and the music and stuff
Absolutely.
like out there is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if you wait too long, it'll be gone. So you gotta
Exactly.
get a piece of it yourself and hold on to it, because
Mhm.
once it's gone, it's gone.
It is gone, and uh, uh, it's amazing. And a documentary that I watched not so long ago. It's the uh, uh, one from Tom Petty,
Oh, what a
and
story!
oh yes, and I thought it's amazing. And we actually said in the thing he actually hated corporate
Yeah,
uh, the work. As soon as his contract were over, he got to do some the stuff he wanted to do.
right, right. It's a shame that that's what the industry has pretty much always been. It's been run by suits, and you know, if you're an
Mm,
artist, that's the last thing you want, controlling how you're able to make your art. I'm
mm,
so glad that like streaming has given a lot more control back to the musician. Now you don't make money,
mm,
but at least you have
mm,
control, and at least you have an audience. You have an outlet to get your music out to the world. And yeah,
mm.
the streamers kind of rip you off. You don't make any money, but at least you can get your music out. And for most of us, knowing, look, I'm not going to make any money at this anyway. All I want is an audience. I just want people to hear what I'm doing. So thank God for that, because back in the day, if you didn't get picked up by a label, the only people who ever heard you were in your own backyard, and that's it. You didn't have a global reach.
No, he didn't. And that's the thing about YouTube and all of the other video and Spotify and these guys,
Right?
Bandcamp. Yeah, you can actually reach people because I'm on all of those platforms and
Yeah.
I go looking for artists and stuff there. Unfortunately, I've also seen some bad feedback from some of these sites and stuff like that where they actually say they're ripping the musicians off even on some of the streaming sites,
Yeah.
which is actually sad.
It is sad.
So,
That's like stealing from the poor.
exactly.
Why? Poor, poor, starving artists. You're stealing pennies from them. That just
True.
ain't right.
That that's why a lot of how can you put it? The bands there got their own website and they
Yeah.
started selling stuff tracks from their own website and
Right.
sharing their website out and stuff like that to make sure they get the money in that's due to them.
Right. Right. And, you know, that's kind of been a lot of the buzz recently with Spotify now eliminating royalties for any song or artist who doesn't have at least 1,000 listens per year. So if your song doesn't get listened to on their platform 1,000 times in the year, you're not going to make any revenue. You know,
Yes.
no matter what, everybody's going to have to, we're all going to find a way around those types of things. And that just means that we'll find new avenues for revenue streams, whether it's Bandcamp. And, you know, then Bandcamp got bought, and I don't know who bought them, but I'm hoping that they don't eliminate the Bandcamp template, because you can make 100% off of what you sell on Bandcamp. But like you said,
Yes.
you're right. A lot of guys end up having to resort to just setting up their own websites, using social media to direct people to their website. So it's a shame that you're stealing from the poor, man. When you're cutting off the opportunity for even just a small, minuscule amount of revenue for these these indie, small, starving artists. It's not right.
And that's just shame on them for that. But
Right.
one thing for those that's people that's listening in chat and it's going to watch it, this podcast and stuff like that during the week, uh, just a tip: if you see bands like that, you see their websites and stuff. Go if they've got a mailing list. Go and sign up with your email address because the bands will send you stuff. And
Absolutely.
what I found is also sometimes the people that signed up will get a version of a song that's not included on
Right.
their album.
Right.
So you might get an acoustic version, or
Right.
you might get a 10-minute version of the song that's not on the album.
Right, the extended version of it. That's
Yes.
I love that kind of relationship that smaller, a smaller band can engage in. You can be more intimately involved with your fans because you're a smaller band. You don't have to worry about what a label tells you can or can't do. So you can give early releases to the people who follow you or on your mailing list. You can give them an acoustic version or an extended version. You can send, merch that they wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. So it's kind of collector's item merch. So that kind of stuff allows for a lot more intimate relationship and opportunity in the relationships that you have with your fans.
Oh, definitely. And what I've also found with a lot of these bands, they send me a song over, and a lot of these people that's on their mailing list, and then they ask feedback, tell us what do you think of the song,
Right.
and you give your honest feedback, and then the band, everybody's feedback decides, okay, this is what our fans are saying. Uh, should we do it like this or this?
Right.
Then they know, okay, the fans, it's right, like just like it is at the moment. So let's keep it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what better way for a fan to feel like they're completely connected to the band than to be able to
Oh,
offer the
yes.
feedback and it be received? For the band to be receptive to fans' input into how they write or what they do with a song. You got to love that kind of stuff.
And that's the only thing you get from indie bands or unsigned bands. You're
Yep.
not going to get bands like Metallica telling you, listen, go and listen to our songs. We're giving you free songs and stuff like that. You're not getting it.
Never gonna Yep, never going to happen. And the shame is, my understanding is that's kind of how they started out. They started out telling their audiences, hey, if you want to bootleg, if you got a way to record this show, go ahead and record it, bootleg it, give it to your friends. In the beginning, they were like an indie band. They just wanted to get the word out. They wanted as many
Mm,
people to know about them as possible. But then they kind of, once you get caught up in the money and in the label, then you kind of sell out.
exactly. I remember back in the day when it was big news. Can you believe it? Metallica took Napster to court and shut down Napster.
Right. Right.
And Metallica fans were very upset back then
Yeah.
because, so yeah, I know all about Napster and stuff, but
Yeah.
a lot of bands were putting this stuff out there themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. And that is what led to today's streaming services. That's
Yes.
sharing music sharing back then. A lot of people, that's how they got tapped into a band. I mean, if they bought your second album and your third album, it may have been because somebody shared the first album and they didn't have to buy it. But then they became a fan. If you're a band, your primary motivation is to get more people to listen to your music. I, I'll never
Mhm.
understand why it becomes all about dollars and cents later. I understand the business side of it, but I mean, if you're an artist, you're an artist, and you just want people to hear your music.
True. And look, there's enough money to be made doing concerts, gigs, selling shirts,
Right,
selling autographed uh,
right,
uh, CDs, vinyls, and stuff like that. There's enough money to be made. You
yeah,
don't have to have 20 yachts and stuff like that. One is enough to will do.
right. Exactly.
But yeah, see, for me, I've asked a lot of these guys that's coming on uh, for the podcast and stuff. Uh, the thing, since you've got your new album out, uh, any specials on your, say, your previous album or album before that, combined, buy all three albums at a certain price, and that's the thing you can get with indie artists.
Right.
Is come on, use this link. You can get all three albums for this price, or come and message us. We'll make a plan for you. And that's the way the music is coming out.
Yeah.
Uh, People might like your latest album, but you've still got copies of your second album or the first one. Why not sell them as well?
You got it.
Make some money out of it.
Right. Exactly. And I think a lot of times too, it's that people just never had a chance to hear that first album or the second album. They heard the
Yes.
third one where there was, some song that went, a little wider to a wider audience, was more appealing and got a lot more promotion. But hell, man, sometimes you go back and dig deep, like you were saying. You've been watching all these old movies and stuff. A lot of times, it's the gems that nobody ever even heard about that are the most entertaining and what you enjoy the most. I always love B-sides. Like anytime an album came out, a lot of times it wasn't the song that was on the radio. It was some other gem that I found in the album that it was my favorite.
Oh, yes. Totally agree with you. And that's the whole thing. And see, the amazing thing about the internet and all the streaming services and stuff, I'm finding bands in Poland. I find bands United States. Uh, I've got bands all over the world, and
Right, right.
uh, like tonight I'm talking to you in the United States. Alice in the UK. I'm in South Africa,
Yeah,
and we're actually talking, doing stuff like that, and that's how your music can reach out. It's
right.
no longer I'm not with a record label. People in Australia won't hear my music. They can hear your music if they're on social platforms like Facebook and stuff like that. You can They can hear your music because there's groups out there like rock and metal groups on Facebook. Fans belong to and share the music
Right.
and stuff like that, and that's how your music spread. I just
Exactly.
wish Facebook and X and these guys play along, because I'm not making money out of sharing the music. I'm doing it for the love.
Yeah.
So don't say I'm spamming music if I'm doing it in groups and stuff, or give me a fact checker. I'm sharing a YouTube video. Uh, Please check the facts on this. It's a music video, for heaven's sake. What
Right.
facts need to be checked?
What in the world are you fact checking, man? Yeah, I don't get it. We run into the problems with if you comment too many times on Facebook, they shut you down for a couple days. And all of
Yes.
the commenting that's happening is just, I'm connecting with a band who posted their Spotify link or their YouTube link, and I'll share mine right back with them. But if I do that more than 50 times in a day, boom, they slam the prison door on me for the next couple days, and I can't comment to anybody. It's amazing how a social media company will prevent you from socializing.
Well, I found it, strangely enough, a couple of years ago. I was actually watching uh, March Madness, which is the college basketball thing in America,
Right.
and I'm a big Jayhawks fan, and I was watching it and commenting on the Jayhawks group on Facebook, and every time we comment and stuff as we're watching the game on the Facebook link to the game, and I got banned by Facebook. I couldn't comment for a week because I comment too much inside a, a Facebook group saying "Go Jayhawks" and saying, uh, "Come on, guys, we've got this"
Right.
during March Madness for a whole week, and
Yeah. I thought
a,
you were.
a lot of other people, a lot of other people in the group also got the same thing, and we were livid with Facebook.
Yeah. Like I said, it happens to me all the time. And all I'm doing is connecting with other indie bands. And somehow their algorithm thinks that you were spamming when you're cheering for the Jayhawks. They think I'm spamming when I'm connecting with other bands. It's crazy. A social media company that won't let you socialize.
Exactly, that is one of the strangest things. I know. I once landed in trouble with X or Instagram because what I did is, as the people uh, like and follow me, I returned the favor.
Yeah, right.
Now, I've skipped a few days, so I decided, okay, these all the guys that's actually uh, uh, in there, so let me follow all of them. And then I was told, listen, for the next 48 hours, I couldn't follow anybody, add new people to follow. So
It's
from then on, every day I come on and see who's following me and follow back, just returning the favor basically on it.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, strange how things work.
It is. You have to do it in like small doses, because if you do it too
Yes,
many at once, they're gonna slap the iron bars on you, man.
definitely. But that's the thing. It's like you want to share your music with your friends, bands you found that they might not have uh, listened to. You want to share it, and for me, sharing on different groups on Facebook and Twitter, people get to listen to. This band, I haven't heard of it. This is an indie band. Yes, let's go and listen to it and stuff like that. And
Right.
that way, the band is getting more views on YouTube or wherever they're on, and uh, more people get to listen it on a streaming service like Bandcamp, and more
Right.
people get to buy this a single or a record.
Right. And for so many of these, every one of these companies, they're dependent on higher volume. They want more eyes on the screen. They want more people listening. If you're on Spotify and if you've got the free version, they're running ads all the time. If you're on Facebook, it's the
Yes.
same thing. The longer your eyes are on Facebook, the more ads you're seeing. So I don't understand why they don't just encourage more of that instead of kind of penalizing you for doing it. It doesn't make sense.
Uh, uh, like same with YouTube. Sometimes I just shake my head and think, because I've yeah, there's certain topics that YouTube is again purging, and yes, I'm just shaking my head. What about freedom of speech? What about uh, saying what you want to? If I want to say, listen, this band is really good, there's the link. This is the band's name. It's freedom of speech. I don't care what the band's name is. The band
Right.
choose their name. I
Right.
didn't say the name is this and this. That's what the band called themselves.
Right.
And YouTube is in America. They've got supposedly the best form of freedom of speech. So I can't see why they're going
Yeah.
after.
It's the very first amendment of our Constitution, freedom of speech, and yet somehow it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Well, joking about things, uh, when I was uh, watching the Jayhawks and stuff like that play and stuff, I met a few American friends, and one of them jokingly said, you ask somebody, you know what a first amendment to the Constitution is and stuff like that. He said,
Right.
freedom of speech. He said, no, the right to carry a firearm.
And this is coming from Americans.
Yes, I'm laughing. Okay, but 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 look, I understand it. Without being funny and anything to the Americans, there's so many millions and millions of Americans, and so many coming each year into America
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So yes, you've got a very diverse population over there. But I
Yeah.
think it's also fantastic with the music and stuff that you've got over there, different kinds of uh, metal influences and stuff like that. That's coming around.
Yeah. I love the massive variety that you find in music, and it's the
Mhm.
same. A lot of it's the same in other parts of the world, but for some reason, this country really seems to have tapped into creativity, and
Oh yes.
I love it. And maybe a big part of that has to do with freedom, and hopefully we
Yes.
never lose it. Hopefully we never lose that.
Oh, I hope so too. I hope every country that's got their freedom actually keep it, because
Yeah,
once you lose it, it's gone
never
forever.
get it back.
You're going to battle to get back.
Yeah, never get it back.
Yeah, that's true. So, one thing off the topic, in South Africa, we actually got a thing called a braai. it's like a barbecue in America. Are Americans really that big on their barbecues?
You know, we really are, and especially certain times of year, like NFL football season, college football,
Mm-hmm.
pro football. Everybody barbecue. That's a big deal, and especially if you're down south. Like the guys are in Nevada, so they're kind of southern half of the country too. In the south,
Mm-hmm.
people love barbecuing. Up north, you barbecue more during the summer because you have 7 or 8 months that you really can't. But down
Mm-hmm.
here, everybody absolutely loves to barbecue, and especially during football season. So yeah, it's a big
So
deal. There are regional sauces, so there
mm-hmm.
are areas of the country that are known for having their own specific type of barbecue sauce. Texas has their own, Louisiana has their own, Nashville, Memphis, anywhere, Atlanta, anywhere else you go, they've got their own style of barbecue sauce.
Oh, that's fantastic. Because using the American term of applying to what's happening in South Africa, here in South Africa, every weekend, uh, yeah, at least once every weekend, a week, on the weekend, we have a barbecue, or
Awesome.
braai, like we call it.
Yeah.
And you do your meats and stuff. We love our meats.
Yeah.
From
Same.
pork, and some of us do the brisket like for 18 hours and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that's the way. And I've seen Americans on barbecue and stuff. And I was wondering, does every American actually have a barbecue
Pretty
at
much
home?
Yeah. Everybody's got a barbecue. A lot of people have smokers. So we've got we like to prepare meat, and yeah, we're a big carnivorous country too. So everybody's got a barbecue. Everybody.
Uh, that's fantastic. It's good to hear because uh, we like our meat, and if we're going to visit the States again, we want to have a barbecue and we want to have a good beer for sure.
You have plenty of both, man. Yeah, I'm from Chicago originally, and a huge meat town, known for steaks, for beef sandwiches, hot dogs. So yeah, that's a big barbecue town too. Even though it's winter town, you get cold weather 7 months of the year. People love to grill meat. Yeah, that was the slaughterhouse of the country. That's where all the slaughterhouses were. So the whole train system brought all the beef, pork, and everything to Chicago, so it could all be cut up and then distributed to the rest of the country.
And also, because one of the things we actually chatted about is told me, listen, if you ever come to Kansas and to Lawrence, come on, you have to have a Sunday buffet. They
Yeah.
do Sunday buffets here, and you can stuff yourself, and it's not expensive. I said,
Right?
you mean stuff yourself, really? I said, you can load your plate.
Absolutely. You know where they have lots and lots of buffets? They always, and it was famous for it. Was Vegas. So as Vegas, all those casinos had just killer buffets, and a lot of them it was really inexpensive to go to the buffets. Vegas has gotten a lot more expensive than it used to be. But back in the day, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you could have a killer buffet with lobster tail and crab legs and steak and you name it, and it was inexpensive and in some places free as long as you were gambling in the casino.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
What I also see, what a lot of the Americans are doing, and it sounds very interesting. They have mac and cheese with everything, and biscuit and gravy.
Right. That's why we're all overweight, man. That's why 5% of Americans are overweight.
I get the mac and cheese because we also do like spaghetti and mac and cheese over here. Biscuit and gravy, you have to explain to me, what is biscuit and gravy?
It sticks right to your ribs, man. As soon as you eat that, you're going to be heavier. You're gonna put a couple pounds on. It's inevitable.
Oh, is it?
Within 6 months of living here on biscuits and gravy, you'd be like the blueberry girl in Willy Wonka.
Oh yes, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Look, it's amazing. I get to learn about American dishes and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to love it there because
Oh,
all the food looks great and the music looks great. The indie music,
yeah.
really in America, what I've picked up from bands and stuff like that. Because I've been talking to bands like Sepsis in uh, 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 Manchester, near in what's near Hamilton.
Yeah.
They down there, and yes, the scene there is fantastic as well. So yeah, just going on the music to going to listen to all the kinds of music the country has to offer. I think
Right.
that must be. I'm going to start my GoFundMe project and say I want to visit the United States to visit the music scene and do the food.
Yeah,
And do a
absolutely.
podcast.
And depending on where you go to, you'll find music, a unique flavor of music and a unique flavor of food. Like you go to Memphis, it's all like it's all Delta blues and a lot of barbecue. You go to Nashville, you get a lot of country music there and a lot of country food. You go down to Austin, Texas, and you get big steaks and great music there. You go to LA and it's nightclubs and bars, and it used to be a great music scene. And when I was there, it was kind of fading. They still had a good music scene. Sunset Strip had a lot of good music. You go to Chicago, they got a lot. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you, Joe. Joe? Oh, I think we've lost Joe there. I think we lost Joe.
Sorry about that, guys. But Joe's back. Joe's back.
How's Joe back?
That's Adam.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys.
Technology, it happens, Joe. Don't
It
worry.
does.
Yeah,
It
no
does.
worries.
How you doing, Al? But yeah, if you get a chance to go to Chicago,
Hey,
Chicago
Joe.
has awesome food: pizza, beef sandwiches,
Yeah.
the best hot dogs, and Chicago-style blues and metal. A wide variety of music. So there's a lot of great music scene. Seattle still has a lot of like the tuned down grungy stuff going on musically. So a lot of cool towns with their
Nice.
own unique sound and unique food.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, fantastic. No, good to hear it. I think that's actually something for those that's listening should actually get together, everybody, and do a food and
Food and music
rock
tour.
metal tour to the States and then to the
Right.
UK.
I love
We
it. That's a
sleep
great
over
idea.
when we're in the UK, we can sleep over at Elle's place.
There you
Minnie's
go.
mother's place.
I'm in.
Oh, yes. Any questions you want to ask, Elle?
Yeah, I've got one. If you got the chance, Joe, would you ever come over to the UK to play a few shows?
I would love to come over to the UK. You guys have some killer music. Some of the people that I've met just in the last couple months through social media that are playing music over there or involved in radio, you guys have a great music scene over there. Like you guys, Kim Rennie, Ms. Hyde. It's just we've been really greatly embraced by the Brits just in the last couple months. So yeah, Rain of Fire would love to come over there and play.
Cool. Would you
Awesome.
do like a full tour here in the UK or even in Europe or down in South Africa?
Yeah, we'd love to. A lot of it just comes down to the finances. Like when you and I talked last time, all of us have full-time jobs. So the hardest part for us would be, can we at least come close to replacing our current incomes? And a lot of it, because we all have families, it's whether or not we could support it. And if the money was there and we could definitely fund the trip, then we would love to do it.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
And we're still building a body of music too. Once we finish with this album, we'll have 9-10 songs. That's kind of tough to do. We'd have to be an opening act for somebody. So I'm not sure how much money would be there for us. But as we progressively build this up on the second album, I could see us being able to support our own show, or split the bill with somebody and have enough body of music that we could play for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, cool.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, so, yeah. Have you got any more questions there, Basjan?
I've asked all the questions I want to. Any questions from the guys in the chat?
Yeah, guys, if you got any questions, I know there's Tony and Lisa in there. If you got any questions, ask away. We don't bite much.
Matthew, you won't believe.
Yeah. So, we sort of like start wrapping things up there, guys. So, yeah, any final words before we sort of like start wrapping things up, Joe?
I just want to thank you guys for having me once again, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys. And the time flies. I mean, we've been doing this for almost 2 hours, and it doesn't seem like it, not at all. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys. And I'm really, really happy to like what we're doing.
Thanks, Joe, for
Yeah.
coming on. It was
Thank you for
fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Coming on.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah, we've got a sort of like comment from Lisa. She says, just enjoying the discussion, thanks. So, yeah. Thank you
Awesome.
for being here, Lisa.
Yes,
Thanks.
thanks, Lisa.
So, yeah. So, if you want to jump off to by all means, we'll probably go on like a little bit longer to wrap things up, to say what's coming up on the radio show and a few other things. So if you want to jump off, by all means.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Okay, Joe, thanks.
Thanks,
We'll hear from you soon. Keep
Thanks,
well,
Joe.
Joe.
Thanks for being on.
Thanks, guys. All right. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks to, like I said, thanks to Joe for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure for having him on. So, like I said, we'll start wrapping things up here. So, well, I'll do my little bit, quick little segment for today. Coming up on the channel tomorrow, I will be releasing a little top 3 songs of. If you go into the playlist after the stream of the top 3 songs, I've got a couple of those little videos from the bands. Oh God, Avon and let me see, Avon. I just got to get the bands up. Let me see. Avon and Alternatives. 2 brilliant albums that I've reviewed. We picked top 3 songs of. So yeah, and then on the 18th, I've got an interview coming up with Bob Mitchell. He has returned to doing music from after he took a break from music for a few years. So I'm going to be doing an interview with him. Then on the let me think, the 20th. God, I can't say it. Well, I've got the interview the following week. I've got Peter Lickberry. I hope I pronounced that right. Going to be interviewing him, and then on the last Saturday of, no, the last Friday the week after, I've got Stein Pine. I'm going to do a catch-up interview with him. So that's going to be absolutely brilliant. And on Thursday, what's coming up on the show, I want to do a replay of the interview I did with Carlos Arroyo. So that's a really good interview that with him. And then I've got for the albums of the week, I'm going to be playing Celtic Hills and their album Hold Through Folk. And then I'm going to be playing the self-titled album of Day of Departure. So yeah, all that is coming up on the show, Touching Metal Across the Pond, on Thursday, over on digitalrevolutionradio.com. You hear loud and clear. So it starts at 6 p.m. UK time, going all the way through to midnight. And that's for the US listeners. That is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, going all the way through to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And help me out here, Basjan. That starts at 8 p.m. South African time.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're 2 hours ahead now instead of 1, so 8 p.m. Yes, time. So yeah, that's my little segment done for this week. So I know you've done the bands to watch out for. So you've got I know you've got a few gigs you want to announce. So take it away, Basjan.
Yes. Okay, thanks, Al. Yes, my first gig is Krawall Rock Open Air 2024, 9 to 10 of August 2024. Bundesheim, Walkings will be there, Scarlet, Anger, and Insanity. Then Nemesis, Temperance, Tulip, European Tour, Nuremberg, 7th of September in Germany, 8th of February, Berlin, 9th of February, Hamburg, that's in Germany, 10th of February, Essence, 11th in London, 13th Saarbrücken in Germany, and then in Budapest in Hungary on the 15th of February. Then I've got Dragon Force, Amarante, Infected Rain European Tour 2024, 21st of February, Germany, Hamburg, 22nd Berlin, Germany, 23rd Leipzig, Germany, Oberhausen, Germany, 24th, 25th Stolberg, Netherlands, 27th Copenhagen, Denmark, 28th Oslo, Norway, 29th Gothenburg, Sweden, March the 3rd Rika in Slovenia, and then 4th Warsaw, Poland, and March the 6th Brno, Czech Republic. Then the 7th Austria, Vienna, and then Budapest, Hungary, and March the 9th Munich, Germany, 15th Weisbergen, Germany, and 16th Zurich, Switzerland. Then I've got what's my next one? Okay, June 24, 2024, Incubus January 2024, Incubus Succubus, Mexico. They're going to be touring Mexico, Incubus Succubus. And then Planet Rock Winter End 2024, it's the 2nd to the 4th of February. Bands that's going to appear there are Empire, Those Damn Crows, Massive Weapons, and then Toner International Speedway, May 2024. It's going to be Dirty Honey, Falling in Reverse, In This Moment, Skillet, Disturbed, Evanescence, Lacuna Coil, Clutch, Plush, Apopolica, Eva Under Fire, and then the Carlisle in Hastings, England, New Metal Festival System Down, Korn, Linkin Park, Slipknot, November the 25th. And that's in Hastings. And then I've got Holy Grail, the 14th of November at Trillions, Newcastle, the 18th, the Doll in Blackpool Gateshead, the 9th of December, Doll Blackpool Bull Pub Gateshead, and then I've got the 13th, the Forum Music Centre, Darlington, and the 23rd, Xerox, Newcastle, and 30th of the Cumberland Arms in Elsburn. And then 14th December, the Soap Girls, Holy Grail, in the Mansion Breakers, Trillions, Newcastle. So for those in Trillions that can make it there, go and see Holy Grail and the Soap Girls. I'm sure it's going to be some interesting entertainment.
Yeah, I'll be
Then,
trying to get to that gig.
oh
I'll
yes,
try and get to that gig.
I think you're going to enjoy it because you've seen both of those bands already, so you're going to enjoy it for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. As you know, I'm really good friends with Holy Grail, and I've seen the Soap Girls before. Back in 2019 when Pussy Willow 33 supported them. So
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, awesome. Now, that's going to be a fantastic one. Then Rabbit Junk at Bannister's LA, November this 18th. And then August 2024, Rebellion Festival, Chaos 8. Then Sick New World, Saturday 27th April 2024. System Down, Alice in Chains, Spirit Box, Seven Dust, Baby Metal, Black Veil Brides, and more. And then Suburban Twice, gonna be at the 16th of November, Vic in Derby, and 7th December, Docks Academy, Grimsby, and the 16th of December, Xmas Bash, Summer Centre, Nottingham. Then Fallen Fields, December the 8th, Springback Tavern in Hull, Howlett and Chatterton, December the 15th, the Imperial Philly, and 25th November, Nosferatu and Incubus Succubus at Boston Music Room. In the Cardiff Life, Hawks X, City Fate, Yaki Dar, Danger Prone, Fuel Rocket Club, and that's going to be the Fuel Rocket Club. And then Opus Buzzard Bash 2024, January the 13th, at Toad's Place, Dead by Wednesday, Sepsis, Fractured Reality, Eyes of Fear. And then Wolfsbane Tougher Steel Tour 2023, 24th November, they're going to be in Crumlin. 25th November, the Parish, Huddersfield. 26th, the Brickmasters in Norwich. 28th, Rescue Rooms. 29th, the Abandonments Bar. 30th, Cluny, Newcastle. 1st December, Esquires. The 3rd, Asylum. The 7th at Waterloo. And the 8th at Water Rats. And I think that's in London. Water Rats, if I'm correct. And that's my gigs for this week. Some interesting gigs coming up.
cool. So yeah, we like you say, we're going to wrap things up. Any final words? Well, prior just before we go into the final words, we're going to be doing a raid over on Nerd Report. Lewis is going to be doing a report on alien attacks down in Peru. So yeah, I've been sort of like following this for a good few months with Lewis. So I'm going to be doing a raid. So I'm going to be putting
awesome.
the link in the chat with for the wrong one. That's the website for remove that. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the raid over on Nerd Report. So see ya when you get over there. When we do get over there, see ya. Project Raid. So that's going to be fun. So I'm going to be doing, so anyway, Nerd Report, head over there. So I'll put the link in, the link to his stream. So, yeah. So anyway,
Awesome.
last words there, Bashan.
Go and enjoy the gigs and everything, and don't drink and drive. And we'll catch you next week for the podcast, and this week Thursday for the Project Metal Across the Pond on Digital Revolution Radio.
Yeah. And like we say every week, don't drink and drive. It's a dick move, a proper dick move. So if you are going to have a drink whilst going out to see live music, find alternative transport, whether it be a friend, a family member to pick you up, or get public transport, or even better still, find a hotel room. But don't drink and drive. It's a dick move.
Oh yes, I agree with that 100%.
So anyway, guys, any last words before we go there, Bashing, before we wrap things up and head over to the Nerd Report?
And that's it for me. Catch you next week. Have fun, guys.
Have fun, guys. Catch you all later.
Catch you later.